We are live 364 days a year. What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I've told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan. Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
How do you not get sushi after Monday Night Raw?
What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Wednesday, October the 1st, a news day. I'm here with the sports guys, the wickedest crew in the game on a Wednesday. Let me introduce them to you. First and foremost, I'm going to keep this one in the continental United States. I'm going to introduce a guy that he does own a college. He's Aunt U. He's the man himself. How are you? Happy Wednesday. What's going on, my friend?
Happy Wednesday, or as we say here in Virginia, hump day. I don't know. We say it all in the U.S. But either way, man, it is Wednesday. We are here to talk some good wrestling. We have some great topics today. We got a great cast. So let's kick this show off and have some fun.
No doubt about it. And it's not that often that we get Big Ant and across the pond, Big Arch. Give us one Glasgow in the intro, Archie, to make our Wednesday, and let's break this show down.
What's going on, guys? So to go forward with Clark's request, Glasgow, and
Yes.
and yeah, I'm excited to talk about some of these topics. There's some very interesting and fun topics, especially the top one. I want to know where's the sports guy's nickname come from?
Oh, I made it up on the spot. That's a new one as of today.
That is a new one.
Did you like it? I think we stick with it.
I like it. Sports guys.
We're the sports guys. I mean, dude, you coined the theme song. I went Mickey Mouse voice. You sang it in the intro. I got to give you credit if I'm going to give anybody.
That is great.
Speaking of credit, it looks like Ben wants us to note some based on some recent news activity that we've seen here about one Monday Night Raw over on the words of my grandma, Monday Night Raw over on Netflix. So according to WrestleNomics, this isn't looking good. It is down of all down. The last few weeks, a record low since they've been on Netflix. We're looking at 2.3 million global views this week, 4.5 million hours viewed. We haven't seen really anything in that range since the debut in May and whatnot. This is an interesting one. I think ratings are funky too. I like it how quickly we jumped from TV ratings to streaming ratings. Like, we haven't even had a litmus test of what it really looks like for sustainability and what the future of the industry looks like as far as programming is concerned. So I have a hard time commenting too much as far as like strong thoughts as to what it means. You also have the heart of the football season right now. You're talking about Monday Night Football, potentially head-to-head in certain markets. That drastically changes things as far as viewership. And also, let's be honest with ourselves. There was a little bit of a sour taste in our mouths heading out of WrestlePalooza and things like that. So maybe a slight dip in viewership there makes a little bit of sense. But Archie, I'm going to start with you on this one, and then we'll head to you, Aunt U. What are your thoughts? What does it mean for Monday Night Raw? What does it also mean for the future of Raw on Netflix? Because we know that's a long contract. It's not a short-term deal.
Yeah, it is a long contract, and I'm pretty sure it's 10 years. But then is it like it's an option for cutting it down, or so they can, Netflix can get rid of the contract after 5 years if they so want to. But yeah, it's not a good look on WWE. I mean, the whole WrestlePalooza, the kind of backlash about that show. To be honest, I didn't think it was as bad of a show as people are making out. I think WWE in general is maybe leaving a sour taste in the mouths of internet wrestling fans. But yeah, this isn't a great look at all, especially for your A show. And it's honestly been something that's been building up for a while, because I mean, this time last year, WWE was hot, it was red hot. It was as popular as ever, coming off of WrestleMania 40. And now, it's as everything does, it's starting to slow down a bit. It's starting to go down in in its popularity. But I'm starting to, and I've always said, like when we've talked about this topic before on Wrestling Republic, I've always said that I think it's just a minor blip, and things will go back up again, and things will go back down again. But I'm actually starting to question if it's a minor blip and they can bring themselves back to these top ratings that they had before, or if Triple H has lost touch as a booker in record time, because I'm starting to see, usually as a booker, you'll be able to see Triple H kind of improve and correct his mistakes, even if the product's still not great. He's still making the same mistakes, and he's not really making the product appealing, really, or entertaining as it once was. And I'm not sure he has a solution for making it better.
You've brought up a bunch of really good points, and I find it really interesting because you talked about last year and the peaks that the WWE found. During that time, I felt like we had a lot of topics on this show where it was like what's AEW going to do? They'll never catch them now, and all of this stuff. And I felt like last year was the year of me continuing to beat the dead horse to Ben, weather the storm, stay in it, wait for an opening. And I'm not saying that this is a wide opening in any way, but it's a bigger opening than we saw last year. There's no doubt about that for AEW to sort of grab some market share. And based on what we saw last night, that comment from Santino Marella, you must be joking, on the second. Are you kidding me? What we saw last night at NXT? Stop it. That is a joke. We've got the Atomic Merp in the comments was so true, Archie. Absolutely. We've got DCX Warlord making fun of Chelsea, as he should, because you know what? Archie needs to get ego checked once a show about his soccer team. That's all I'm saying. I do think that's a routine now, and Ben's not here to do it.
No, I don't think we can do that, because the last time I was on the show with Archie, I told Archie that I was a Chelsea fan with him. So there will be no Chelsea slander on the show with both of us.
Unfortunately, Chelsea are checking my ego themselves because their performances have not been great recently. So
here's the real question: do y'all play Chelsea Dagger? Do you guys play Chelsea Dagger?
Yeah, we do. When we score a goal, that we play Chelsea Dagger, and that's
so same with the Chicago Blackhawks. I don't know if you know that, Archie, but you could have played on that about a year ago, and you might have somebody rocking the blue. There's no doubt about it. I'm just saying, they do the same thing in Chicago. But before we get stuck on soccer once again, as we always do, let's talk about this Raw scenario. I think it's really interesting. You brought up some great points about Triple H. That was another thing I wanted to address, though. And this is going to sound a lot like I'm like defending Triple H. I'm not, but it's such a nuanced convo for me. I think the one thing we forget when it comes to Triple H is there's more hands in the cookie jar with WWE being the corporate structure that they are, being the corporation that they are. There are more hands, whether it be Ari Emanuel or Nick Khan or the way things that we saw on WWE Unreal, the way that those storylines are booked. Tony Khan at the end of the day in AEW can say and do whatever he wants. So I do feel like the on-screen product is more of a direct reflection of Tony Khan as a booker than it is as Triple H as a booker, because I don't know that he has full autonomy and full power to do exactly whatever he wants to do, because there are still checks and balances in the WWE, Archie.
But he does have a lot. The thing is that Ari and the higher board members, they're not going to be really taking over creative is his role. So making the product entertaining and interesting is his role. There are certain things that might be out of his control, like Brock Lesnar, or maybe the high level matches like maybe who Cody Rhodes is facing. But as an overall product, Triple H can make it compelling and can make it interesting. So it is on him. It's like a football team, like we just said. You've got the manager, you've got the coaching staff underneath him, and there might be many problems underneath the coaching staff, but he's the head of it all, so he needs to take the blame.
So that is fair. Okay, I understand that for sure. Also, I was starting to get nervous here, guys. Zach Minger, though, in the comments, in the clutch. It's International Coffee Day. Happy International Coffee Day, everybody. Thank you so much. But
I celebrated that.
I gotta get your thoughts on Raw hitting record low numbers. What does it mean for the WWE product? What does it mean for Monday Night Raw? Are we going to see a shift in Raw programming? That's an interesting question I haven't asked yet.
So, here's my take on this. And once again, I am not the smartest man in the world, but I feel like I have a little bit of knowledge when it comes to some things. You don't take your services, you don't take your show to a platform like Netflix if you're worried about live numbers. You're truly not, because it's an app of convenience. There's so many people that are working on Mondays that do stuff. Like before, you had to tune into cable to watch it live, and if you didn't have cable, well, you couldn't watch it back on the streaming app of the channel anyway. So you had to watch it live. So numbers are gonna be up, but now I can miss Raw. I could be at work. I can miss Raw, and then if I get home an hour after it goes off, I can watch it right then. I can watch it the next day. I can watch it when I'm not busy. So I'd be more interested in seeing the stream numbers for the whole week than I would just for that one day, because I don't think because everyone has Netflix. So it's not if you watch it, it's when you watch it.
Okay,
Yeah.
not to cut you off, Ant, but interestingly enough, based on what I'm reading, and it's kind of hard because it is basically just like a big graph when it comes to the ratings and whatnot.
Yeah.
It does appear it's over a 3-day period, which I think is a fair. That's more fair to your point than just over the time that it aired live. Those numbers are over a 3-day period, which is Monday, Tuesday, essentially into today, or I guess it would be like 2.5 where we'd be at. But
Right.
So
I think that those I mean there's a whole, like as Ant said, there's so many different kind of like angles. Like I mean, you're talking about Netflix, you can download Raw and watch it when you're not on the internet as well. So it's do those numbers take that into account? So I think the thing is with streaming is that I don't want to go too much into like ratings, but it's the thing is with streaming, it's very, very tough to gauge kind of a ballpark of what of the interest in the product when there are so many different moving balls within Netflix as a service.
For sure. And honestly, we could speculate on this one, I think, all day, but the next topic is so interesting to me. I think all three of us should cover it. No doubt about it. You guys cool with that one?
Yeah.
Because I think that's the move. Let's talk about The Undertaker and what he said in an interview that I found really fascinating. So this was with the 6 Feet Under podcast. And some of the quotes here were, "It's not, my decision," which was just telling. And then "It's kind of just the way it works. Wasn't my decision." He hinted at it. Then he sort of said it. That's probably the best part, is that I don't really remember the match when it happened, which is so freaky to think about. And we're talking about the dead man in the first place. It's very clear when you listen to this interview that The Undertaker did not want this streak to end. But he did his job, and I do think there's something commendable and respectable about that. Yeah. My question, though, is, Archie, what does it look like if the streak doesn't end? And what were your thoughts on Taker actually coming out and saying it? Because we're talking about a guy over the course of his career that didn't say anything outside of the ring.
To me, if the streak didn't end, it makes me feel a lot better about Undertaker's streak than I do now, considering I've never thought Taker's streak ending the way it did was the right way to end it. I mean, you're talking about Brock Lesnar. He didn't need that. Taker's streak, it would have been the ultimate of ultimate, like, kind of putting over a star. Like if you wanted to really cement the next big thing in professional wrestling, and the next young star and the next massive thing in professional wrestling, then ending Taker's streak would have been the most easiest way to do that. And Lesnar didn't need that. And to me, if the option was Lesnar ending the streak or the streak just continuing and never ending, then I choose the latter, because it's a lot easier to. I think it looks a lot better on Taker's career, and it doesn't really. It's never sat right with me, and it's interesting that this is coming out now about Taker, because I never all we've known about his feelings about the match is that he never really knew anything about it, which is quite heartbreaking to know, especially because it probably was the biggest match in his career, and he barely remembers anything about it. So yeah, it just didn't really sit right with me that's how it's never sat right with me. That's how the streaks ended, and I would have much prefer it to never end, or to put over a younger star. I mean, even someone like Roman Reigns ending it. Yes, he wasn't the most popular at the time, but you could have really just kind of fast forwarded the Tribal Chief run if Roman ended the streak rather than Brock.
This is where I'm so torn too, because I'm with you.
Right.
I think what bothers me the most about the way the streak ended was that it ended so cleanly. There's a pin in the middle of the ring in the awkward moment. I had a friend of mine that's a big MMA fan, that's a casual wrestling fan. He suggested, he goes, what if they'd have had basically Brock get him in the Hell's Gate, or Brock get caught in the Hell's Gate, and the shoulders are down and he passes out at the same time as the 3 count. Now we can sort of do the streaks over.
Ooh.
But is it really? Yeah. And it doesn't take away the mystique. Now, by the time you get to Roman, it feels like, he got the first real win. Because in our minds, you can do it was a draw. Are we serious? Type thing.
Yeah.
Something like that. The hard part for me is they made Brock Lesnar look stronger and more unbeatable at WrestleMania than The Undertaker. And you put 20 years into building The Undertaker's aura, not just every night in and night out, but especially at WrestleMania, right? It was a little like seeing Derek Jeter strike out in the playoffs. That's not why we bought a ticket, right? No. Michael Jordan airball the final shot. That's not why we bought a ticket.
Yeah.
And that was a hard part about it for me. And you, obviously, I do want to also ask you about this one because, as much as I like to joke about Archie's age, he is well studied in the history of wrestling, but you and I were kids when Undertaker debuted and we were there for the aura and the building of it. There were some stinkers on the streak. Giant Gonzalez. There was some, even the Flair match is good, but
even still, the Giant Gonzalez, you looked at it and you were just like,
in awe.
Undertaker could lose this. Right. So I wholeheartedly agree. I don't believe the streak should have been broken by one person. I feel it would have been the perfect time to put a group maybe like the Wyatts, or put a group like the Shield super over. It would have taken all 3 of them. And so it wouldn't have hurt the Undertaker at all. But at that point, the Hounds of Justice could have been the Hounds of Hell, and they could just be continued to have just ran around and destroyed everyone. And it would have made it believable. Yes, Seth got the pin, or yes, Roman got the pin, but it took all 3 members of the Shield to put the Undertaker down. So you had this group who's been being built up as, everyone here is going to be a superstar. And together, they're as strong apart, but they're so much stronger when they come together. It's a whole boxing reference for you guys, right?
Yeah.
They're so much stronger when they come together. And you could have made the Hounds of Justice just elite by having all 3 of them in the streak. And if you didn't want to go that route, then no one should have broke the streak. It was after the 18-0, right? After the 2 matches with Shawn, and then the match with Triple H. At that point, there was nothing more cherishable than that streak. Every year you got that was one of the main things you got to look at WrestleMania and go, who's the Undertaker wrestling?
And think about this. This is before 2 nights of WrestleMania. The Undertaker actually invented 2 main events, because there were long 2 main events.
Always.
There was the main event and the Undertaker match.
The co-main event.
Exactly, right? Well, and you could have a co-main. Half the time, they'd have a co-main. And then they'd put Undertaker in the middle of the card. But we all knew what that meant and what it was.
Yeah.
To sort of just end that. I don't know if it's something that we'll ever be able to recreate in wrestling in our lifetime, because a lot of it has to do with longevity. This wasn't intentional. Nobody went, what we ought to do is have the Undertaker not lose at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And then you looked up, and that's where I mentioned the Flair match earlier. Most important thing about that match, this isn't even the dead man. This is Fred Durst Undertaker, right? And he wrestles Ric Flair, and that was the first time that was 10-0, and he counted as he got out of the ring. The dead man never would have done that. That's what launched the streak. That's the most interesting part about this. The history of the streak to me is it's one of the most organic storylines in the history of wrestling, bar none. So I think that's why it's something that we'll be talking about probably for the rest of our lives. No doubt about it.
The beauty of it was you had Mr. WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels,
yes,
who was starting to go on, who was starting to go on a decline, right? But who was starting to go on the decline, and so it picked it up right from the, because like Shawn Michaels was going to give you the best match of WrestleMania, and then after Undertaker counted and the streak began, that picked up when Shawn, his body was starting to give up, he was starting to have troubles with stuff, so that took over for that.
No doubt about it.
It carried WrestleMania.
It's so true. So true. Speaking of showstoppers, though, really quick. Sorry, Arch, not to cut you off, but we got to pay some bills really quickly, my friend. Let's talk to you about Barista Coffee. Barista is small batch organic coffee created through excellence, authenticity, and unforgettable moments. Head over to barista.com. You're going to love it. It's all fresh. It's all really, really high quality stuff. Not only that, they got great merch and a great logo, so check that out. Also, if you haven't already liked and subscribed our second channel, Wrestling Republic Undercard, for exclusive videos, clips, and more, please do that. We got all kinds of good stuff over there. If you like the main page, you're gonna love that one. Deep breath, guys. We got more to come here on today's show. Let's talk about it. AEW signs a deal with DC Comics, and I've got this one is, according to AEW themselves, the Justice League meets AEW in a 2-issue comic book event with an exclusive preview debuting at New York Comic Con. This was released October 1st, 2025. That is today, my friends. But DC and AEW are teaming up for 2 issues. I was a comic book nerd as a kid. I didn't do the come back around to it as an adult, but I am always fascinated by good old school comic type stuff. I also just recently went on vacation, guys, and I read the history of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and learning that Tiger Mask and Black Tiger both came from an anime series, as well as Jushin Thunder Liger. And all of that history, I was aware of it to some extent, but not the full extent after reading the book over the course of 4 plane flights. This is really cool, and it's really old school. And given AEW's link to New Japan and the Forbidden Door, and that gets talked about so much, it's been open a long time. It's not all the way open because we're not seeing any WWE, AEW stuff. Edge isn't wrestling John Cena. Stop it. Why are we saying that? But at the same time, I love this partnership. I think it's really exciting, and I think it's really cool. And I'm going to go to you for this one. What do you think we should expect with this? And are you as excited as I am?
No, I'm not. Congratulations. The second best superhero group gets to partner with the second best wrestling attraction. So, I mean, cool. 2 number 2s working together, I'm happy for them. I'm happy for AEW. Somebody they have to do stuff like that in order to stay on top. WWE fans were calling Cody Rhodes Homelander, and Tony Khan must have got jealous, and he said, okay, so I'm going to make Bobby Lashley Black Lightning. I'm going to make Tony Storm Superwoman. This is what we going to do. So it's cool. I love it. I'm happy for AEW. I'm happy for Tony Khan. I'm happy for DC Comics. Way to go ahead and just collaborate, I guess.
Oh, stop it. You can't hate on Batman. You can't hate on Batman. I'll give you the list of names.
No. Let's stop. Batman.
Here we go.
It's a Temu version of Iron Man. Okay. He's a dark.
I'm a Superman guy. Clark Kent. You know that.
That's quite good.
Superman.
You know that.
Cool.
Superman.
Hard to hate smash on. Superman.
Okay, let me let you know though the stars that are involved in all this. That I actually think this is cool because I'm hoping that this is who's included in the magazine, and that's John Moxley, Swerve Strickland, Orange Cassidy, and Willow Nightingale.
Okay,
that's really cool.
That Willow is Nightingale really cool. They've also got.
Nightingale. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, they've also got like the famous comic writer, artist, and a former famous comic writer in Steve Orlando, Travis Mercer, and Frankie Smith, who've teamed up to write like numerous really famous ones. So I do think that's actually a big deal based on what I'm reading there. Not that I didn't do my research before, but I actually didn't get that paragraph in, and that does seem like a big deal. I really do like the list of names, Ant. As much jokes aside, to be included in the issue.
Willow Nightingale as a superhero might be the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
I think so too.
She is. I mean, she is so lovable. She's such just a great human being. I heard some people got to meet her at WrestleMania, and they were just.
Don't keep bringing that up. So jealous.
Honest to goodness, it was such a funny encounter because she was just walking through the lobby, and it was like, oh, hey, that's Willow. Said her name, and I just said, I hate to be the worst person in the world, but like, you're one of my favorites. I rarely ever ask her a picture. Is there any way, like, because we were in the middle of the lobby, I was like, should we like sneak so you don't get mobbed and take a quick picture or whatever? She goes, first off, you're not the worst person in the world. I'm like, you are the nicest person alive. Like, wait a minute. It's like, she was like, we'll just take a picture right now. You're fine. Like, so cool. Like, she could not have been cooler. I Moxley fits this. I also think, you remember like the Scooby-Doo crossovers when we were kids, Ant?
Yeah, oh, definitely.
I feel like this is going to look more like that. I don't think we're going to dress AEW stars
the
up
Harlem
like wrestlers.
Globetrotters.
Yes, the Globetrotters, things like that. I think it'll look closer to that, where we have the AEW characters as a part of a comic strip around the superheroes, right? Sort of presented in their own way. And that would be my hope, because if it is just ripoffs of already established DC comic book superheroes, I don't know that that lands the same as if this turns out to be something like more organic and more original. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. And I want to see Wonder Woman put the lasso of truth on John Moxley. I think that would be hilarious what you could come up with.
If they put that in the comic, that would be outstanding. Archie, though, I got to ask you, I don't know your comic book history or background, but what are your thoughts on this? In DC, and you made a good point. It isn't Marvel. It's not the same, but I didn't think Marvel was going to be signing any sort of deals with AEW anytime soon, nor did I think DC would either. And DC aligning with AEW, I do think it's a pretty big deal. Are you in agreement on that?
No, it's a massive deal. I mean, I've been, I mean, when I was a kid, I read comic books. As I've gotten older, it's been more just kind of watching the films rather than the comic books. But yeah, I'm a fairly big comic book nerd myself. So it's really cool to see this collaboration. And I actually think that between Marvel and DC's the perfect kind of like DC as a company aligns perfectly with AEW as a company, and not because of the joke that they're both the number two, but I just think that they just both align perfectly with each other. DC's can be very gritty, and can be very down to earth, and as same with AEW. They're very much the gritty alternative. So they align perfectly with each other. And just to tell you how big of a deal it is, I don't think we'll be seeing Marvel lining up to collaborate with WWE anytime soon or something like this. So, yeah, to see a collaboration like this, I'm guessing it's going to be a one of a kind for quite a while. And hopefully you get more than 2 issues. I think. Yeah,
that's the picture. Yes, good call.
Yeah, so it has.
I'm with you, Archon, more than 2 issues.
Yeah.
It has Hangman. It has Orange Cassidy. Mox. Like there's some good people in there. I see Darby Allin in there.
This is a really fascinating comment, and obviously, this is all in good fun here. But Fernando, we don't often get fired up on the show. DC Comics is number 1, and Batman is almost everyone's favorite superhero. Look it up, LOL. That cracked me up. But then he also added, and this is something I did not know.
Yeah.
Warner Bros. Owns DC Comics.
That's true.
That makes a ton of sense. As a diehard Looney Tunes guy, big WB supporter.
I mean, I'm not just to say, Fernando, I'm not swaying on either side. I mean, especially with the new Superman film, I'm definitely swaying maybe more onto DC. But yeah, I think DC and AEW, this is a very special partnership. And I'm really happy to see that actually, because kids do read comic books of DC, and they do know about DC superheroes. There's a lot of kids that look up to Superman, so this is going to get more eyes on AEW for families as well, which I think has been a gap in their viewership where they probably maybe should bring in more families for their viewership.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is going to be great for both
Plus,
parties. Definitely.
we've got one more comment I want to address real quick. And Podcast Grifter Podcast is a friend of the show, but he said, "Isn't partnering with DC Comics a little sports entertaining?" Dude, let's not take one phrase and just make it suck in wrestling. Like, why do we do stuff like this?
Why is sports
Podcast
entertaining
Grifter
a bad?
Podcast,
Used as a bad thing
you've
anyway?
had great comments like, why? Like, why are we doing that? Come on, we're better than this. We're all fans here. Yeah, I like sports and entertainment. Does that make me a criminal? Shoot, I like pro wrestling too. Jeez Louise.
I don't know why it's used as in a bad way. Sports entertaining. That's so sports entertaining. Like,
but
I was entertained.
I understood why in the 90s it was made fun of. It sounded goofy as could be. Nobody was like, they're like, this is wrestling, sports entertainment.
Yeah.
Stop saying that. Everyone's used to it now. It's the same stuff. Knock it off.
To Archie's credit, though, I mean, if this helps AEW, market with that 6 to 15-year-old age range, it's huge for them.
Huge.
It's huge for them.
And that is a great point too, because that's also a place where WWE dominates them. Toy sales, all of that. That's where they're absolutely dominating. I'm not saying they're going to make a dent. Probably no way. Atomic Merp, I love this. Shout out. I love that. All right, let's keep it rolling on today's show, though, and let's talk about our main event of the evening. And that is, will Obafemi beat Sami Zayn, which I think implies that he's going to answer the open challenge. Obviously, it is an open challenge. I'll give my prediction on, hypothetically, if this happens and what would happen if it did. Right after you do, and I'm going to start with you on this one.
Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, such a hypothetical question. Can Obafemi beat Sami Zayn? Yes. Will Obafemi beat Sami Zayn the first time he challenges him? I mean, yeah, dude. Oba is one of those guys, just like Bronson or Braun Breaker, that you can just strap a rocket to them as soon as they come up and have them do no wrong. Just like Gunther, you can literally rewrite Obafemi's rise in the WWE as you did Gunther's, and no one would bat an eye because they're both just such dominating figures inside the ring. They look like champions. They have that no nonsense, just brutality about them, and they go in, they handle business, they get out. It's an easy right if you want to make it so. If you want to add more depth to his character, if you want to, give him some stuff, sure you can. But you can definitely take the rocket, put it on this kid, and just watch him soar.
I couldn't agree more. So you're going with, if it happens, Obafemi picks up the win.
Yeah, I believe so.
Absolutely. Archie, I'm going to go to you next, and then I'm going to give my take on this because, I've got a good one.
I'm completely in agreement that if Obafemi answers Sami Zayn's open challenge, he should not only beat Sami Zayn, but he should just squash Sami Zayn. Like, obviously, we're talking, Brock Lesnar and John Cena at SummerSlam, but in much quicker fashion. Sami can get some offense in, but Oba should win, strongly and defiantly, and just kind of leave Sami in a helpless mess, and kind of just leave audiences in shock that he's just easily swatted away one of the biggest baby faces in WWE in recent years. And if you give Obafemi the United States Championship, just don't let him get pinned for a year or more. And in fact, let him keep the United States Championship until Javon Evans is ready to be called up from NXT, and have him be the underdog. I wanted him to do this in NXT to win the NXT Championship, but the United States title will do just fine. Have Javon Evans beat Obafemi after a year-long title reign or longer, where he can properly cement the legacy of the United States title, and then Oba can go on to the world title. I know it's a year in thinking, but I was just kind of thinking, if Oba Femi did win the United States title, who's the right option to beat him? And it would be Javon Evans, I think. So yeah,
I don't
yeah.
mind that, and giving us the whole year is cool. I'm in
Mhm.
agreement in a lot of ways. I think we're all in agreement on Oba Femi winning, but especially here's what I think. Covering NXT for the last 2 years has been a blast. It wasn't so much of a blast lately. We can right some wrongs here. First off, we have Ricky Saints, who should be a heel. His personality is a cocky heel. He's liked because of what happened on the internet when he wasn't being booked. That's why he's a babyface. He didn't earn being a babyface on television. He didn't go out and earn the crowd's respect by being lovable. No. Everyone got upset he was not on AEW TV, and he wasn't on WWE TV, and then he shows up, and then everybody loves him. Oba Femi stuck around long enough. He should be the most dominant force, and he should absolutely be a heel, but he became likable because of his demeanor and his no-nonsense stuff. For this debut, Sami Zayn shouldn't get in one offensive move. Oba Femi better not sell for 1 second. I want to see absolute dominance. I want to see Sami Zayn throw a big old Sami Zayn right hand, and the ruler, Oba Femi, not even flinch, not even bat an eye. And you put a force that strong on the main roster television in Oba Femi, and you have him run through all your favorites, run through them, whether it's an Uso, whether it's a Luchador, whether it's a Penta, whether it's a Rey Fenix, you have him run roughshod. You want an open challenge? I'll take over your open challenge. You were never built for this. You were never built for this. I'm built for this. And slowly but surely, we can work our way back to he's the babyface. We can also build the one person that can beat him. I like the idea of Javon Evans on the main roster.
Hello.
I don't hate. Dang it, Ant! You the big reveal.
What did he say?
I was gonna say Mello. I
knew it. Because
Let
we think
Mello
alike.
have his
I don't
moment.
know.
Let
I don't
Mello have his
know.
moment and pull the upset. They've worked together in the past. I think it would make sense. I love that as an idea. But the main key being things will also change over time after that initial victory. That initial victory has to be so impactful. One of those debuts you never forget. Where you're like, who, if you hadn't seen him on NXT and it's your first introduction to Oba Femi and you see him wrestle Sami Zayn, your reaction is not what just happened. It's who is that guy?
Yeah.
What is going on there? That is something we got to get to. He's just gigantic. I don't mind him. Podcast Rips or podcast adding Oba is as tall as Drew and Randy Orton. I don't mind him squashing both of them.
Yeah.
Let me know, Clark, or let him know, Clark, Atomic Merp. Absolutely. As always. Yeah, I don't mind him squashing Orton, Styles, anybody that people like. Squash.
So, as you brought up the Oba squashes Sammy, I can see the match happening, and I see the way it should be written. You know how Oba has the big beads that he has around, so they do the introduction. Oba goes to put his beads over the post. And as soon as he turns around, Sammy hits him with a haluva kick.
Yes. Yeah.
Oba brushes it off, gives him the big Oba.
Yeah.
Turns and looks at him.
Yeah.
Just gives him that big Oba, like his emote or whatever when he comes out. Boom. Pop up power bomb, fall from grace. Over with. That would be insane.
I hate to say this. This is going to sound pretty sadistic, but I would almost like to see him play with his food with Sammy.
I'd love that as well. I'd love to see that as well.
Like mess him up. Like power bomb him over and over and over. You want keep popping him up to the point where like he's difficult to pop up because he's dead weight. Like
also you want to show people how hard his chops and his hits are as well, and his clotheslines are. You want to show, you want to really like show the real power of Oba Femi. I don't love the idea of Mello being the one to dethrone him because I love how you mentioned Ricky Saints and he's not a babyface, Mello is I just don't see him as that underdog babyface like Javon can be that
The
can
only thing I
take
see
down
a little bit
Obafemi.
with Mello is he's such an HBK guy. If he can
Yeah.
find that groove where he gets cool enough the way he was on NXT, I always thought, even on NXT, Mello don't
Yeah.
miss, and the work with Trick, he was so likable. I thought of all of those heels, given his size and given all of that, he has the possibility to be so cool he turns into an amazing babyface. That's the one thing with
Yeah.
Mello that I don't necessarily see with. I mean, Oba kind of accomplished it in NXT,
Yeah.
but
They
I
need to
don't
bring the
necessarily.
jerseys back.
Yeah,
They need to
Yeah.
bring the jerseys back. That
I think there
cockiness.
is a babyface run in Mello.
I think there is, but I think you need to establish him in what he's best at in wrestling, and that's being a heel, that's being a cocky
and
heel,
here's
like
the other
Ant said,
thing
and
is-
bring back the jerseys.
Where he's a little stuck right now is he's alongside Miz, who's exactly what you just said. And so he's supposed to be learning from him, but I'm like, by comparison, he seems less heelish than Miz
No, I mean
when they
that's-
stand next
that's
to each
true.
other. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that doesn't hurt him in what you just said, where it comes to
Yeah,
building him as the heel. Because I agree. I think the arc has to be, he's got to be built up as a heel first to the point where he's
yeah.
likable.
Mhm.
It
Right?
should
And
be
that
the other way
happens so
around.
often.
It should be
Yeah.
Mello. It should be Mello stealing the tags, getting the wins,
Yeah.
instead of Miz doing it to him.
Yeah.
Yep. I think
I-
so too.
I mean, I mean, another option if I wouldn't hate the if Javon Evans was the one to beat Obafemi, that you then get a feud between Javon and Mello for the
Oh,
United
that'd
States
be
title, and then Mello can beat Javon. But I just feel like someone for Obafemi to lose to someone, it needs to be that kind of that underdog that nobody really thinks will be able to beat over, and that kind of lovable character.
also-
I don't think Mello's as lovable as Javon, or can be as lovable as
In a
Javon.
weird way, it's completely different. And I don't want to extend the show for like 5 more minutes because we're running out of time. But
Yeah.
I feel like Obafemi, the more I've watched him, the more I feel like he has like the quality that the Undertaker had, where he can be a
Right.
non-traditional, like an Undertaker should not be a babyface.
No,
Like, period. Like,
no, yeah,
it just doesn't make any sense. I think Oba has that in him, and even on the run can start to even put the signals out towards
Yeah.
towards that sort of a career. That's Oba has that aura, as the kids like to say, where he can, he can make you like him even. It's like almost like you trust his morality, but he's a bad guy. Or he's
Yeah.
a bad man, for lack of a
Right.
better way to put it, right?
yeah.
Like,
And then
it's weird.
Mhm.
And then the
No, I know what you mean.
payoff, the moneymaker. You just start working towards Oba versus Jacob Fatu, and that's your money.
Yes. But
Mhm.
but where my brain was at was, I look at one of my favorite feuds of all time. You have heel Shawn Michaels in the first ever Hell in a Cell match against the Undertaker as a babyface.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Mello in that role is outstanding.
that's true. That is very true.
You know what I mean?
In that sense, I didn't think of it in that the roles would be flipped, and that Oba would be the babyface and Mello would be the kind of conniving heel. But yeah, that would definitely work as well. My mind would be switched on that.
The run has to be long enough, though. To
Oh
your
yeah,
point,
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
because we all booked a lot of things. All three of us booked a lot of things way out. Now I
Yeah.
do have to take us home here, my friends. We could talk about this the rest of the day. I wish
Yeah.
we could, but please tune in same time, same place tomorrow. Of course, that's noon Pacific, 3 o'clock on the East Coast, 8 o'clock in the UK, and 9 a.m. for my good friends in Hawaii. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do. On behalf of me, Clark Taylor, and you, Archie, everybody at WR, stay tuned. We got all kinds of good stuff coming up, and we really appreciate you checking it out today. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Enjoy Dynamite. Enjoy the shows this weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.